Lovely to see everybody. Thank you for joining us. We usually start this very organized thing with some discussion. I want to bring something up, and this will tie in together with the overall theme of this event, I promise, eventually. So this morning, I woke up at the brisk time of 3:30 a.m. and went to the airport and got on the plane. The plane departed sometime after 6. While my family was still sleeping, and then when I landed, I knew that they're going to be awake because they're going to school and daycare. When we landed and I got the data roaming on, which I do immediately when the wheels hit the tarmac, I had like 6 messages from my wife. And we are happily married, but we're not that happily married. So when I get like 6 messages from her, I get a bit panicky. First of all, like, what did I do is the first thing. Did I wake everybody up? Because the dog woke as well when I left. But she started by saying like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And I'm like, oh crap, something bad has gone down. And then she shows me a photo of our living room floor, which is like shredded with paper. Like there's bits of paper everywhere. And then there's a white blur that looks like an Australian Labradoodle in the corner of the image. And now to help make this all sense, there was a bit of a panic in the air because I knew what had happened. And now I'm going to tell you what happened. And this is how it's going to tie back together with everything. Once a year, all households in Finland with kids younger than 10 get sent, just conveniently under Christmas, a catalog of toys, like a toy catalog. I know you used to have it in the UK, like the Argos and the Index, and I don't know if they have it in Germany as well, but it's like the Holy Bible for kids. And they are so excited about it. They go to the post box every day between the weeks of October and November looking for it. And we got the catalog. And for some reason, our son had left it on the couch when they left for school. And our dog, because he's a kleptomaniac and he just gains immense pleasure from breaking and destroying things that we love, he shredded it to pieces. And now I'm in full panic mode in the Hamburg airport going over secondhand sales because it's a free catalog, but it goes for like 30, 40 euros secondhand for all the families who have kids who have just turned 10. So I'm going over those in panic. And now why I want to bring this up, this terrible disaster, it has a happy ending, by the way, and I'll tell it at the end of this session so that we can have something to talk about. But the reason I'm bringing it up, like, we are both deep in the digital world. I think everybody in the audience has been for the, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years, so deep in the digital experience. Is there anything in the world that can ever replace that? A kid going to the post box, getting a physical catalog of pictures with index numbers and page numbers they can conveniently put in the letter to Santa. It's like, browse to page 58 and choose ID 1567. And
Roblox.
Yeah, Roblox, whatever floats their bubble. That catalog is available for free online. Like it's right there on our iPad. But that won't do because they need to be able to thumb those pages, circle the products that they like, copy them onto paper, draw the outlines, write them into that list. So it makes me feel ridiculously redundant. Like, what have I been working on for the last 25 years when all the digital experience I can think of will never, ever match that palpable tension that comes when a kid is confronted with a catalog of all the latest crap that they can now order for Christmas?
Yeah.
Like, how do we even approach that? Like, is this something that AI can replace?
I hope not.
How would you do that?
I don't know. I feel like I need a break from AI in general.
Yeah.
Conversations. But I get what you're saying. I mean, I'm trying to think and relate, but I can't because my son is 14 and I'm his Roblox bitch. Like in the sense of like I only spend money on Roblox and Fortnite.
Yeah.
Monster.
Yeah.
I don't need money.
But my kid's like...
But he likes to unwrap in clicks the new skins in Fortnite.
Does he still have the thing where he needs to actually turn the pages and see...
Nah, man, I lost that child. The child is lost. I lost him.
Yeah. This is going to be a session about parenthood advice.
I lost that kid. I did what I could. So, nah. But it's nice. And so did you buy it? Secondhand? Did you get it on Vinted?
I'll just spoil this. So luckily, we did some like forensic analysis, and my wife looked closely at the shreds, and she did like this crazy serial killer thing where you start putting them all together and try to on the corkboard, and she noticed that the year in the top corner was 2024. So my son, because he's such an addict, had actually been comparing the 24 and 25 catalogs. And he'd be doing like an inventory of what changed and what are the cool new things so he can ditch the old ones. And so he had taken the 25 catalog with him to school, which is an equally bad thing. And he's going to get a very hard talking to when he comes home from school. But luckily, crisis averted. I did already bid for the catalog for like 25 euros. So I'm going to have to, once this session is over, I'm going to have to kind of ask the seller to maybe not hold me to that money, or they'll just sell me for 30 because there is a market for it now. But yeah. Do you have that in Germany? Like, do all the families get it? Oh, you're missing out. It's really good.
That's why it's only in Finland. There's nothing in Sweden like that.
No, what I'm just saying, from the UK, you had Argos and Index back in the day. That's just Argos, okay. Oh, Index is old, yeah. Yeah.
That's why Finland is the happiest.
We're just going to be talking about the catalog, by the way. It has like the 8, maybe 9 biggest retailers in Finland are all together in it. So they cooperate to just get money from kids, which is like for a living, I guess.
Is it like a magazine?
It is a magazine. It's a catalog.
So it's like Neckermann. I remember Neckermann. That's the only one I know. When you were getting those big ass Neckermann ones, and we were getting them in Romania, but it was with clothes. So my mom used to use it for doors to keep them, open, or to smack me in the head. I actually has anybody in this room got smacked with a Neckermann catalog ever? Come on, don't be shy. It's a safe space. Thank you. See?
Yeah.
That shit hurts.
We need a content warning when you start talking about your child media.
Exactly.
Pigeons.
No more pigeons.
No more pigeons. Okay.
But for people listening, because this is also gonna be live, because I think
No, it's not going to be live. Good.
I mean, it's gonna be online. For people listening, we are at Analytics Summit.
Oh yes.
In front of a room of gorgeous, amazing people today, and we realized that we didn't say absolutely nothing. So if you're still with us,
oh yes, hello.
We're here. We're talking about things, and we're very excited. We've never done this before, and normally when we do this podcast, we're very work.
Yeah.
Just like Simo right now, he has a list of things, and we have a very specific structure of the podcast.
Yes.
Okay, so Simo, the first thing I want to ask you, it's like always, I don't know how to do this in person. What have you been up to?
Yes.
Besides catalogs and
So interestingly enough, building courses. So we design courses for a living with my wife. That's our business. And right now we're working on a course about data analysis and the R programming language
with Arben.
With Arben Kachiku, an ex-Googler. Why do you always why do we need to say ex-Googler if it's like
provocative? It makes people go in
more. It's not cool.
Provocative.
Why do we say that? Yeah, I have to stop doing that. But yeah, so with Arben, and I just got the idea of working on another course, which I can't talk about yet because that's secret.
Oh.
But it has to do with a technology that I very much like and admire. So that's pretty much it. And I've been trying to actually, because we're going to be talking about AI today, of course, I have been trying to figure out as an educator, what is my role when LLMs can pretty much do everything I do, but better, and they can build hair for themselves in their head.
That's have wigs.
We have wigs, yes. So that's actually a topic I did want to bring up is that, and we've talked about this before, about this notion of, well, let me just like a hand raising thing, and then we can say to the people listening how many hands were raised, and somebody can count. But
yeah, I'll try.
People doing online courses and learning stuff online, have your habits changed, or maybe have you stopped doing that since ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, that you can ask questions? Technical courses, for example. Change is enough. Like if it's changed somehow.
Okay, hold up.
Yeah, no, that's
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, several hands were raised.
And so can I ask another question? Like, let's say you used to take a programming course or a course that teaches you technical concepts. Do you find that redundant now because you can basically ask an LLM to give you an answer or teach you, even give you the step-by-step how something works in a way that you haven't been satisfied with your current like education platforms? Can somebody identify with that claim?
I'm gonna judge you.
No,
Okay.
absolutely no judging. I am, of course, taking note of your names and keep booting you off our Simmer platform if you're
Which was there in the
no, because that is a challenge. Like, I would love to create more like super technical courses,
yeah.
but it does beg the question that as an educator, does it make any sense to teach someone how the basics of SQL, basics of SQL? By the way, we have microphones going around, so if you have things, wait for those to come around. So
What I see is that it's killing browser stack more than it's replacing courses. I think there's still a difference in having curated, fundamentally sound education as you would expect in a course.
Yep.
As opposed to teach me along, these steps, something like that.
Yeah.
But this is exactly what I said earlier when we had the Ask Me Anything session. We cannot just jump from us just being in the digital analytics to go and deploy an agent or agentic AI, since we don't know how to write SQL or Python, or if we use Cursor or any of these Cocomelon vibe coding tools. And I will explain why I call them Cocomelon afterwards. If you don't know what you're coding, how do you know if the code is good or not? That's what I'm saying. Like, you can just copy that shit and run it and be like, well, there you go. And then when you vibe code, when you use tools like Cursor or Lovable or all these tools, in fact, when you fix something, you break 20 other things if you don't know what you're doing. And if you look at the I'm sorry, you know what I get like.
No, go ahead.
When I hear vibe coding, I'm just like, oh, triggered. I wrote last year in May, June, I did this analysis of the vibe coding market, and nobody is profitable. Absolutely nobody. Maybe Copilot, because Copilot and GitHub, they have their own thing, and then they're backed by Microsoft and so on. All of the tools that are doing vibe coding besides Copilot are just valuation rounds. Not one of them is profitable because their user base has shrunk since the summer. And you might look at Devin or other tools and they get valuations, but no, this is just desperation. Because Silicon Valley is constantly sponsoring these tools because they think this is the future, but developers actually know that they do not help with productivity. In fact, it affects productivity. So more and more people are just like getting away from these tools because they don't solve any problems. And you've seen like so many people are trying to replace software engineering with vibe coding. That's so fucking wrong at so many fucking levels. Yes, I dropped 3 F-bombs in one. I'm sorry. I'm not. But we need to do better as an industry and as a community to educate ourselves. We cannot just jump ahead 20 steps. So I think, as he said, I agree with you. Fundamentals are so important. Learning basic code is so important because you will never be able to discern what's good or bad if you don't have the foundations. And if you are just starting in this industry and you're jumping straight to ChatGPT or all these dumb LLMs, you're just not gonna survive in this industry at all. Go and learn Excel. Take a stats course. Learn basic algebra. Like that's where I'm at.
Can I devil's advocate that?
Sure.
Because what if you
I've been waiting for this.
what if you do survive in this industry just by vibe coding your way through it?
I mean, you could lie.
Well, I mean, is
At
that
some
what we do for a living as analysts?
I guess.
No, but really, I mean, so it's like this idea of prompting for solutions. There are verifiable cases where it's worked, like for prototyping,
Prototyping,
for
correct.
skipping levels of hierarchy just to get a question answered. We talked about in the previous session. We talked about like the center of excellence idea where you ask questions and get results back. So I don't know, because I have a feel like my gut feeling for why the code editors are going down is just because the token prices have gone up. Like it's ridiculous. You used to be able to build a chat app for almost free, like get quite far before you actually had to start paying for the token thresholds. And now like Replit and Cursor and everything there's a there's a barrier of entry which is exhausted quite quickly.
Because they don't have any more money. They're just trying to make people pay because they're gonna die in maximum a year or two. They don't have money. They need, and you have the Nvidia tax. You have the CPU costs. Look at the biggest provider of a commercial language model. Sorry, I have to be careful. The biggest provider of a large language model right now has a $900 million valuation. Half of that is just CPU costs. And where is the money? Because their user base is like, so we're Lion Jones, who was an ex-Googler, one of the people that came up. I'm sorry, but in my context it makes sense. So does everybody know how ChatGPT or Gemini came about? Who doesn't know? Awesome. So thank God I have some people to talk. Okay, so in 2017, a group of the Google engineers, one of them being Lion Jones, came up with the paper called Attention is All You Need. So this paper is the basis of the transformer technology. So the transformer technology is the technology based upon LLMs exist today. So Google came up with the transformer technology with the first model called BERT, which I still love and still use to this day. So fast forward till today, we have a lot of providers of these models. Lion Jones, the guy that even coined the term transformer, had a TED Talk last week, and he said how much he hates the fact that he invented this and he wrote this, because all the money in this industry is going towards LLM, which stagnated the evolution of artificial intelligence in other fields, because all of us as a whole, including myself, we are so obsessed with these large language models because we anthropomorphize them. Because we build on, even if we don't think we do, we anthropomorphize the relationships we have with these models, and we're trying to replace tabular analysis. We're trying to replace therapy. We're trying to replace so much with them. But where's our critical thinking going? Where is it? Because a lot of people are losing it every day. So I'm going to shut up because this is going to be Juliana cries after 4. But yeah, I don't know. I'm at the point. I think the more you do, and because I was exposed to this, and because I've been doing a lot of work in this space, I think the more you do, the more cautious you become and careful when you use this. And like most of the times, the answer is an Excel sheet. For all your data problems, it's never an LLM. So just go and do a pivot table, man. Just do a VLOOKUP. You really don't need that type of compute problem to do a funnel analysis. Just I don't see it.
Yeah. But do you think Google is working to build a conversational tool for analysis?
I love Gemini.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it. I think I love Gemini and GCP, and I love Vertex AI Model Garden. This is like my go-to tools. What does conversational analytics mean? So I was asked this question before. So I know a lot of you guys like MCPs. Where is Gunnar? Gunnar, I know you like MCPs. Is MCP a bad tool? No. But every time I hear using MCPs for conversational analytics, I think about that meme with Kelly Rowland and Nelly. Remember Kelly Rowland was writing a text to Nelly in an Excel sheet? Yeah. So does that make Excel a bad tool? No. Excel is an excellent tool. But will it ever send a message? No. So MCPs, great invention, very useful. Should you use an MCP to plug it to your BigQuery to do data analysis with Claude or Gemini? No, it's not going to give you the answer. So that's kind of where I'm at with conversationals. Every time I hear conversational analytics, I imagine Kelly Rowland writing text into an Excel sheet.
No.
Now, I am keen on Gemini Enterprise, and I'm saying this because if some of you know me, you know I don't shill for nobody. I do like Gemini Enterprise. I like formerly called Agent Space. I think they're doing a lot of work to use Agent Space for enterprise companies to connect it to Workspace, to connect it to your BigQuery, to search. And I think there's a lot of potential there. And I know, honestly, and this is again, not me shilling, for me, Gemini is the best LLM right now because Google has the advantage of having the compute already. They don't have to pay. So they constantly have invested in Gemini. I pay for Gemini Pro on my own, and I love AI Studio. I also pay for Claude for code. Conversational analytics, it's complicated. I think, sure, I see it happening. Do I think it's a good idea? Probably not. I think we have machine learning for 50, 60 years. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? Like, we're trying to create problems for solutions right now. Like,
Well, I mean, as a UI layer,
yeah, sure.
intending with the difficulty of just figuring out how to even start approaching a solution to your question. For example, just like
Sure.
a conversation from the point of view, okay, now I need to know like what the trend analysis for our product.
Or an MMM readout.
Yeah, and then it doesn't mean that it now the little man in the box starts googling for how do I do this, but it's actually the LM can produce the SQL code that you then patch
Yeah.
the query, for example.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that for sure.
yeah. But not to replace. I think
No. I think
But-
this AI replacement theory, which
it's just crazy, right?
it's just as kooky as all the other replacement theories out there.
Yeah.
Um,
It's complicated, and it's very emotional because this is kind of like our jobs and what we do. And I just think we all should experiment, and we should try as many things as we can
no.
and be open-minded. But we should never externalize our thought processes to these tools at all, especially language models. They're built to glaze you. They're built to agree with you. They're built to kind of like undermine your critical thinking. And there's so many cases of this. Just go on ChatGPT or on Reddit. I spend a lot of time on Reddit. I don't have a life, so
You shouldn't.
I'm looking at on ChatGPT Reddit. I'm looking on so many Reddits. There's Reddits for people married with these models. There's Reddits for like everything.
Married with models like chat models or real.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
with LLMs.
That's a good clarification.
Yeah, they have faces. Yep. It's like it's scary. So if it's one thing that I want to like say about LLMs and just this type of technology is protect your critical thinking, because you might not even know one day. Like I caught myself not to know, like I've been using it for so many things to automate my life, and then I had to write an email, and I'm like, how do I frame this into a more professional way? And I felt stuck, and I'm a writer. Like I write, that's what I do. I have a newsletter. But then I felt like when I was using GPT, when it just came out like 2 years ago, I was using it so much because it was so incredible. I didn't know how to write a fucking email. I was like, oh my God. So then is when I was like, oh, I need to stop. So I think a lot of you may relate and may not admit it here, but it's fine. But think about it being down. You're like, don't know what to do with your life. From that moment, I don't have any problem admitting it. But like that was me when it came out a few years ago, and I was like, fuck, am I becoming stupid? And
Did
imagine,
you ask ChatGPT, are you becoming?
no, it's like, no, they told me to,
Such a wonderful question, Juliana.
you should write a book.
You might be becoming stupid indeed.
Do you want 10 reasons for you?
And you get like a bullet list. Well, it's
You want the PDF?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on.
Yes.
Unless somebody has something they want to speak on behalf of vibe coding. We were very critical. Yeah, I've had very very nice experiences from prototyping, coming up with inspiration. As a software developer, for example, one of the most tasking things is just getting started and building a project and setting up documentation and setting up test frameworks. So for all of that, it's really good. I can just jump over so many manual steps. But I do have to insert myself into the loop quite quickly before it actually starts writing code, because that's when all bad things start happening.
But that's a good point, because vibe coding tools and code assistant are made for software developers, are made for developers. The problem is not the tools having you as an audience or anybody here that can code, that understands software engineering and systems. The dangerous is how they're marketed to everybody. Not everybody should code. I'm sorry, but you don't need to code. Not everybody needs to code. Not everybody needs your app.
This is a very bad advertising for my coding platform.
You're a software engineer. I'm talking about if I'm a product marketer, I don't need to code. Let me just sell my product. Let me do a shopping feed. Let me run a campaign. Not everybody needs to code. So guess what? If you're not coding, you don't need to build an app. Go ahead.
I just want to go back to the kids education that you started with, and I think that is the most important thing maybe, because what you said, critical thinking, I think that's it. I have kids 13 and 17 years old. They started to use Gemini, ChatGPT, and we talked a lot about this, and like watched a lot of YouTube videos, information, how this all works, what is behind it and whatnot. And my oldest son came up to me and told me, "Hey Dad, why is this AI stuff, when I do a Google search, why is it?
Yeah.
Why did I get, how can I turn this off?"
No.
Exactly.
But this is like, so the comment was about especially kids who have had an early childhood outside this whole mayhem of
Analog, yeah.
yeah, and some and yes, in a way, but just coming to the realization that you don't need AI for everything. I think that the challenge is from a pedagogical point of view as well, is how do teachers, because obviously it's a competitive advantage to be fluent in digital when you're going through school, and obviously they have lots of different tools for that. We both have kids in school as well. And this is something that as a parent we need to contend with, is that teachers already follow a curriculum set by the whatever education board you have in your country, and at least in Finland there's an understanding that AI tools have to become companions rather than actually steering the content creation itself, and it's getting very difficult to distinguish one from the other. But that's beside the point. I think the more important thing is to just as Juliana said, talk about critical thinking. It's fine to immerse yourself in AI as much as you like, but you need to learn to distinguish the signals between what is actually generated, what is hallucinated. And that, I think, from educators' point of view, this is why I'm not yet too worried, because there's always going to be, like Simon said, there's always going to be a need for like curated expertise and a human in the loop, and somebody who's verified to know something about a topic, which is what a teacher is.
Absolutely.
And it's still, but it would also be foolish not to include tools like ChatGPT in everyday information mining. Like, how do you search for information? Because in many cases, just because of how Google has architecture their search these days, it's very difficult to do a proper search.
Yes.
When you can just get an answer instead of getting a lot of blue links. But it's a very, very difficult. But the things that you talked about, like all the kind of taking things to the extreme in a way, like over it. No, I'm being serious. For once, this idea that of course, like everything can go to hell if you drop all your defenses and you jump straight into that world, and you kind of start having a conversation with ChatGPT as if it was an equal human being, because that's when it starts going down. You start empathizing with them and start reading into their responses that there's something more than what they actually said. There's something between the lines, for example.
Yeah.
And in programming and in coding, this obviously leads to severe software, deficiencies.
Jesus.
Like absolutely catastrophic ones. Like as soon as you relinquish a database generation, if you don't know, again, we're underlying everything if you don't know what you're doing. Like if you build an app and if you prompt an app and the AI system generates your database architecture for you, there is absolutely nothing that guarantees that it's a solid way of doing it, simply because the database architecture is so much more than just technology. It's about, entities, it's about relationships, it's about looking into the future, trying to figure out what we'll need in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. What are the possible regulations in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years that govern the use of personal data in our databases, for example? So that's where I think the line needs to be drawn. And it's still worrying to see. I think it's a bit better now, but at some point, LinkedIn was awash with app after app after app, like image AI apps, for example, that require you to do a social login and then upload all your photos, and it starts doing stuff with them.
I remember, when they were making the avatars.
Yeah, and
I still have one.
and what people somehow forgot in that tsunami was that everything leaves a mark in the long term. And this is all going to be, again, something that data brokers are going to be selling about once their businesses start going down. So it's just
Be very careful what you put in
Yeah.
these models.
I like to be optimistic in this because like I said, I have some very, very positive experiences with this vibe coding.
As a software engineer.
As a software engineer, yes, it's very good, and it's inspired me to build better things, I think. And I absolutely don't know what I'm doing most of the time, so that's the underlying part gone wrong. But there is, especially from I work a lot with tagging, for example. For that, it's a godsend. Like it's structured data, so it can actually give you very, very good ideas for what to do on any given website. And I know that Gunnar and some others have been building apps on top of that, like because it is probably can be solved with technology. I think that's the
I'm trying not to say anything anymore.
yeah.
I think I said enough.
No, I think we're running out of time, and I think that we still have I can't read my handwriting anymore, but
Is it in Finnish?
well, no, it's in some language for sure. It might be a Finno-Ugric language, but it's not Finnish. So okay, so can I ask just one more thing from the audience? We've had some examples of AI going catastrophically wrong. Usually from the result of interconnected systems doing things beyond their purview. So just as an example, when you have a query engine like ChatGPT coming together with a query engine like Google Search, things can happen. So and these things are always bad for some reason. So can anybody, and this is a very difficult question, and Juliana can contribute if she wants to, but can anyone think of a positive or an optimistic outcome from two agents or agentic systems communicating with each other without explicit parameters for how they should communicate? Because all I can think of are just absolute disasters. What could be a positive outcome? So are the systems that we work with so inherently evil or corrupt that when they get together without a human in the loop, they can do all sorts of nasty stuff, malicious stuff? Does anybody have counterexamples where there's like a serendipity, like something?
Alejandro's has one. Look.
The good example that I have is I bought a house this year. Contracts in Germany are famously very extended, and especially if you don't speak the language, it's kind of difficult. And for me, it actually helped a lot reading those documents with a companion AI, and also, hey, is this is the bank giving me a good mortgage option? Do you see anything weird or between the lines or atypical? Do banks actually ask for this so
Yeah.
that interaction with documentation? Actually, you mentioned something before, like it's a language model.
Yeah.
And it's good at reading language. So which legal
Not anymore because they stopped it now.
but yeah. But that's the thing, like in those cases I think it helps a lot. Also, it saved me a lot of money on not hiring a lawyer for so long.
Yeah.
Or I already came with questions to the lawyer, like, hey, is this correct? Is this the right thing to do? So yeah, those kind of interactions, like documentation, asking, hey, compare where this document is saying to where the law is saying. Yeah, interaction might be a positive one.
But you're still in the loop. You're validating that documentation. I'm thinking of a situation where the contract is generated behind the scenes by two agentic systems communicating with each other without you validating it.
Yeah,
because that's not utopia. Like contract handshakes has been a pre-LLM AI feature for a long time. Like just kind of coming up with a common ground. But yeah, we don't have to go there. Okay.
I have nothing.
Okay.
I have nothing positive to say.
So we are wrapping up shortly. We could always talk about one of our favorite topics, which is privacy sandbox. There was an interesting. This is actually a nice thing to wrap things up with because it probably results in a lot of ex-Googlers in the future.
Or ex me.
Or for them. So we've talked a lot about Google's initiatives with privacy, and many of the technological solutions come together in something called the Privacy Sandbox, which originated
10 years ago?
maybe 2018, 19,
Yeah. 10.
as a response to pressure to deprecate the third-party cookie, right? So that's Google's business model back then was reliant almost entirely on display advertising and this notion of an identity that is shared across websites that the user visits. And so they built this entire set of technologies to replace the most common use cases for the third-party cookie, cross-site tracking, identity management, embeds, referral parsing, all these things.
Yeah.
And year after year, typically around February, they would say that, okay, we need a little more time to get rid of the cookie. And this, of course, created a lot of wonderful content on LinkedIn when people analyze these decisions. And now, finally, I think the CMA, the Competition and Markets Authority, which was like the chosen party to evaluate the Privacy Sandbox in the UK, decided to we've had enough. And they dropped it.
I think they only kept like some elements of
Yeah,
it.
and so Google decided to deprecate the Privacy Sandbox, except for a couple of the APIs that are still being used. And this is just incredibly demoralizing
Yeah.
in a way. What is? I am naive, I admit it, but what is keeping the one browser from taking a proper stance with this? Are they so in the leash of ad tech? This is also to the audience. Why do we have a Safari dropped third-party cookies in 2003? That's 22 years ago in version 1.0. That's when they stopped supporting third-party cookies, except for a couple of borderline cases. So it's not like the industry hasn't been
already through this.
Ready for this and adapting to it, and especially because of all these kind of fake news about it going away. You think we have a bread, and I'm not sure. Did I hear like a collective gasp of relief when Google dropped the Privacy Sandbox? Because I didn't. I thought I saw more people were disappointed or maybe cynical. Of course, they weren't ever going to do it, but I don't see anybody like jumping for joy that we did manage to retain the third-party cookie.
I just think it's like how, the deprecation of third-party cookie conversation was. It's just like you just change the year or cut it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like your meme that you have.
It's a Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't mean anything
Yeah,
because it's kind of like it's so abstract and out there
yeah.
that it doesn't mean anything. And I guess maybe there's so many legacy systems with ad servers and ad networks that it's very hard to move on since you have been doing advertising like this since forever. And there's so many companies that use these tools every day. So it's kind of like this toxic relationship,
Yeah.
I guess, between everybody. And it's very hard to kind of like
Well, I mean,
stop it.
specifically from a competition's
Yeah,
point of view, it makes a lot of sense that they at least that they can't just drop it. They need to come up with viable technologies.
Yeah.
But the only one who benefits is Google because they have the walled garden, and Facebook and the other ones who also have identity platforms. But it is demoralizing that we are still, regardless of where you go, today has been very refreshing because there's actually been only a few discussions about GDPR and cookie banners and third-party cookies. But you don't have to go too far back in recent years that was all we talked about. So maybe AI is doing the Lord's work in that we have something else to talk about finally.
I mean, we have the EU AI Act as well.
Yeah,
That-
true.
It's quite interesting.
But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because it is, I personally I'm very frustrated with our industry many times, especially when we start niggling over these little tidbits of stuff when we have bigger problems to contend with. And this idea that third-party cookies are in any way, shape, or form a benefit, they are just simply an obstruction that prevents us from moving forward. Because we have the replacement technology, we have the solutions, we have first-party data. You can agree that has its problems, but if it's voluntarily given and properly hashed and circulated, then there are ways to work with that. We have our solutions. And we have a willing audience willing to depart with that data and provide it for these ad platforms. So why do we still obsess over this idea? I will leave that as a rhetorical question. And
We have one question there, but one here first.
okay.
My thoughts are
aren't we not anyway beyond that point of needing third-party cookies to identify someone? If you have like so smart AI to predict an identity based on, I don't know, mouse movement, or like I don't know, some kind of behavior to predict who it is. So are we not like anyway beyond that point to think about this old technology?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting point. Well, I mean,
From an analytics perspective, yes, but media,
yeah,
very big difference. Because this performance in media that thinks and works with different types of approaches on data than we work in digital analytics. And as Simo said in the Ask Me Anything session, ideally data is just part of marketing or product. But media performance works with different metrics and data points than we in analytics do. I'm learning that right now the hard way.
So one of the problems, I think that if I understood you correctly, filling the gaps is now what these platforms need to be doing, and they try to do it as much as they can because they understand that there's a decline in data quantity and in data quality that coincides. The problem, I think, is that consent mode is a great example. It's a total black box, and it's self-disclaiming. So Google tells you, by adopting this solution that we won't tell you how it works, you'll get 20% uplift, but we won't tell you how. That's the problem. So it compounds upon an algorithmic approach. And the good thing about things like first-party collection, even third-party cookies, are that you have a trackable identifier. And from a GDPR perspective, for example, if you want to do a data revoke, if you want to revoke your data from a platform, you need to be able to trace every single part of your journey as long as personal data was processed. And for that, cookie identifiers are great because you are associated with them. But if your data has been churned through a black box, you at least, as an individual, lose the ability to validate that all of your data has now been processed lawfully and compliantly. And I think that's the problem. At the same time, I completely sympathize with vendors like Facebook and Google who are working on these technologies. I completely understand why consent mode exists. Even if I don't necessarily agree that it should ever have been Google who does it, there should be like a party in between, a neutral party, unrelated to the vendor collecting the data, who does that sanitation, who does that, like the end grouping and the whatever, K obfuscation, wonderful words that I don't really know what they mean, but who does that and then provide the audiences to Google and to others. But if Google does it, if Facebook does it, and they tell you how good they are at what they do, it's the fox guarding the hen house again. It's they be protecting their own goods. But that is a very, very good point. And for the long tail of ad tech who isn't privy to such algorithmic things, who don't have an identity platform, all they can work with is third-party cookies. That's all they have to barter with. It's their lifeblood. And so that's why it's been so difficult. And but thank you. And I think we really have to.
Yes, I got, okay, so thank you everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody that still might be listening if we're releasing this.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I hope it makes sense. And thank you. And that's it.
Hopefully this was a refreshing
Hopefully
interlude
fun.
in your otherwise extremely brain-burning and this was like a kids' playground.
I love this. Feels cool.
Nice. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.